It had been too long since Bungie gave us any bad news that it almost felt like this was coming in some bad way. Unfortunately, this is bad news on the term of Bungie. They did have more layoffs. I will go into more detail as of what, but essentially that is what is going on right now. Bungie is having cutbacks and layoffs in response to changes in the world, and supposedly Sony is going to be working with them, possibly into working on a new game entirely, aside from just Marathon. So aside from that, let me get into this. I'm going to be saying this word for word, as I believe word for word is important. This morning, I'm sharing with all of you some of the most difficult changes we've ever had to make as a studio. Due to rising costs of development and industry shifts, as well as enduring economic conditions, it has become clear that we need to make substantial changes to our cost structure and focus development efforts entirely on Destiny and Marathon. It means today, 220 of our roles will be eliminating, representing roughly 17% of the studio's workforce. These actions will affect every level of the company, including most of our executive and senior leader roles. Today's difficult and painful day, especially for our departing colleagues, all of which have made important and valuable contributions to Bungie. Our goal is to support them with the utmost care and respect. For everyone affected by the job reduction, they will be offered a generous exit package, including severance pay, bonuses, and health coverage. I realize all of this is hard news, especially following the success we've seen with the final shape. But as we've navigated the broader economic realities over the last year, and after exhausting all other mitigation options, this has become a necessary decision to refocus our studio and our business with more realistic goals and viable financials. We are committed to two other major changes today that we believe will support our focus, leverage Sony's strength, and create new opportunities for Bungie talent. First, we are deepening our integration with Sony Interactive Entertainment, which anytime I see the abbreviation, I will just refer to them as Sony. We're going to integrate 155 of our roles, roughly 12%, into Sony over the next few quarters. Sony has worked tirelessly with us to identify roles for as many of our people as possible, enabling us to together save a great deal of talent that would have otherwise been affected by the reduction in force. Second, we are working with PlayStation Studios leadership to spin out of our incubation progress, or spin out one of our incubation projects, an action game set in a brand new science fantasy universe to form a new studio within PlayStation Studios to continue its promising development. This will be a time of tremendous change for our studio. Let's unpack how we ended up in this position. So just to reiterate a few facts, again, they did have to lay off a good portion of Bungie's staff, but from the sound of it, it could have been worse. Thankfully, it sounds like Sony actually integrated a good portion, or at least introduced new jobs or reallocated some workers from Bungie to Sony, so that while they may not be at Bungie, at least they didn't lose their jobs. But at the same time, it is possible they did mention just there that they are going to be working on another new game other than Destiny. Other than Marathon at the same time. But again, let's continue on for the description. For over 5 years, it has been our goal to ship games in 3 enduring global franchises. To realize that ambition, we set up several incubation progress, each seated with our senior development team leaders for our existing teams. We eventually realized that this model stretched our talent too thin too quickly. It also forced our studio support structure to scale to a larger level than we could realistically support, given our 2 primary products in development, Destiny and Marathon. Additionally, in 2023, our rapid expansion read headlong into broad economic slowdown, a sharp downturn in the game industry, our quality miss with Destiny 2 Lightfall, and the need we need to give both final shape and Marathon the time needed to ensure both products deliver at the quality our players expect and deserve. We were over ambitious, and our financial safety margins were subsequently exceeded, and we began running in the red. After this new trajectory came clear, we knew that we had to change our course and speed. We did everything we could to avoid today's outcome, even with exhaustive efforts undertaken across leadership and product teams to resolve our financial challenges. These steps were simply not enough. As a result of today, we must say goodbye to incredible talent, colleague, and friends. This will be a challenging time at Bungie. We need to help our teams navigate these changes in the weeks and months ahead. This will be a hard week, and we know that our team will need time to process, to ask questions, and absorb the news. Today and over the next several weeks, we will be hosting team meetings and town halls, team breakout sessions, and private individual sessions to ensure we are keeping our communication open and transparent. Bungie will continue to make great games. We still have over 850 team members building Destiny and Marathon. We will continue to build amazing experiences that exceed our players' expectations. There will be time to talk about our goals and projects, but today is not that day. Today, our focus is supporting our people. From Pete. So just darting back towards, again, they did mention that across the last 5 years, they have been essentially running 3 different main IPs, that being Destiny, Marathon, and something else they have been working on in the background that they have not yet exactly told us about. They have been developing Destiny in the live service, they have been working on Marathon in the background, and this other one, and from that, Lightfall didn't exactly hit as they wanted, and because of that, I imagine there wasn't as much productivity from the people that either just didn't buy Lightfall outright because of all the bad reviews that it got, or the people that bought Lightfall but also didn't buy Final Shape because they didn't like it so much. Unfortunately, I doubt there's many Destiny diehards as there was 2 years ago that bought every expansion because they just loved Destiny. I imagine there's a lot more people that are waiting for the reviews or waiting to see how it pans out before buying the things. And on that same note, it sounds like there is more and more people that aren't buying random stuff from Bungie. Like, I know a few of my friends, they still kind of give the one eye closed, one eye open when it came to buying silver and buying extra in-game cosmetics, that, or even buying something that just gave Bungie more money than the base of the season and the episode, or the season and the DLC. And to that point, unfortunately, I think Bungie hasn't exactly recovered, because obviously, as they just said, they had to make cutbacks. They tried as many ways as they could before, allegedly, and again, before they had to cut more people. But thankfully, from the sound of it, Bungie is holding out. They're at least still going, because, like, I honestly think that maybe if they didn't do this, there's a chance that maybe we didn't get Destiny 2 Frontiers, because who knows, maybe Bungie ran out of money and they went bankrupt and had to close. Or Destiny gets shut down, because obviously, if the studio is dead, unless it gets picked up by Microsoft or Sony decides to keep the servers alive, if Bungie goes down, then, you know, all the stuff they're working on goes down with it. But with that, again, my heart goes out to the people that lost their jobs. I know the feeling of losing a job after you have been there for over a year. It becomes the second home. You just spend so much time there, you know where everything is. And when you have to leave it, it's almost like you're leaving home again. So again, hearts go out to those that are no longer with Bungie. Again, and for once, I'm actually thanking Sony that they actually did some effort to at least save or safeguard some of the employees. Because again, from the sound of it, it would have been rougher if not Sony stepped in, at least right here. From the sound of it, it sounds like some of the people that might have been lost, Sony collected, and at least are looking out for them. So with that, it is a sad day, at least. It's not as bad as it was before, and again, Bungie said it themselves. Today is not the day to talk about what is going on in the future. It's just time to look after the folks at Bungie. So with that, again, some points to talk about, obviously, just in the resolution, is that there is possibly another game coming out. Again, I know many people will read that and think this is not the article to announce it, but from the sound of it, if not Marathon that they're talking about, they are talking about a new other universe right here. So with that, just kind of keep your hopes up. I know it is a layoff time, but in the end, it is a game studio. They have things like this happen all the time. At least it wasn't a closure, because too many times I hear nowadays of a old iconic studio that made classic titles that closed just because they hadn't made as many classic games or iconic games they had made in the past. Looking at the studio that made Dead Space, it closed some time ago, even though it made the original Dead Space, which was one of the most iconic games of all time. But I'm starting to ramble on a bit. Again, I hope that all the folks at Bungie no longer there, or also the folks at Bungie are doing okay. But my name is TheMadScorpyon, and I will see you in the next video.